most players think that the middle game is the hardest part of chess. Too many pieces, too many plans, too many tactics, so they just start guessing, guys. But here's the truth. The middle game is not complicated. It's just misunderstood. You don't need 50 strategic chess concepts. No, guys. All you need is a simple, repeatable thought process, a simple structure with clear priorities, guys. Alright? And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. You don't need to feel lost after move 10 any longer. Once you master this, chess feels more controlled and even again. Super simple. So, take notes. This is going to be a lot easier than you think. Apply this and your rating will improve, guys. So, let's get into the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you somewhere that was rated 900 and now currently 1100. So, the good news is, the concepts I'm going to be telling you in this video can be applied at all levels. Beginner, advanced, doesn't matter. This is absolutely the blueprint of what you guys need to do to play middle games forever, guys. Alright? Once you have a strong base, like what I'm telling you in this video, every single thing will become simpler. Now, for persons wondering, why is black playing the scam opening and this is, I hate this and stuff. This is basically showing me that, alright, like you don't understand chess and you don't like to plan and get your pieces up the board and all that good stuff. You just want quick wins, and I told you guys again, like quick wins are short-lived. Not all your opponents will lose quickly. So when it's time for you to actually sit down and play a game of chess, you're going to need this. So now we have knight f6, knight f3. So in the opening phase of the game, you need a pawn in the center at least, or some center control. You need your minor pieces developed, your two knights, your two bishops, and finally you need some king safety. So that's all white is doing in this scenario. Once you'd have exited the opening phase, you'd have automatically reached what we call the middle game. And look, everybody who is playing against the Scandinavian defense says that they find it difficult. This is how simple it is to get to the middle game once you have played against the scam opening. Alright? We have the two knights, the bishop developed, king castled, and just like that, we are in the middle game phase, guys. Now, the middle game, you need to master two strategic concepts. One is mastering the art of piece improvement, and two, you need to master pawn play. Once you have passed the stage where like you actually have control over the chessboard, you're not like hanging pieces every single game, then you can start to work on strategy. And for that, I have this rule of the box that we place pieces in this area, or we try to make pieces attack in that area of the board. That is going to be the first thing that you guys need to put down. That box, screenshot it, get things over there. So in this position, after c6 was played, if anybody is watching again and taking real notes, you need to put pieces to good squares. So improving pieces are things like this. If your rook is basically looking at like a pawn, you need to start to make it point in your opponent's side of the board. Now, for persons watching this again, it looks harmless, but if you practice it, like by you improving a piece, you're giving it a chance to go further up the chessboard, okay? By you improving one piece, you're giving room to improve another. So in this game, now the good news and the thing I like about middle game is that you can do almost anything. It gives you room for creativity. You're more restricted in the end games and the openings. Middle game shows you where you can actually get creative. There are endless possibilities of ways in which you can play. But I want you guys to again understand the base, the actual fundamentals of what you need to look for. So knight e4, this is pointing in that area. It's also attacking the queen on a5. So to look at this, he is freeing the pieces. The bishop, it's playing a defensive role. It's like protecting, not really protecting, but it's not really attacking anything. So this move, two pieces were now getting attacked. You want them in active formations, guys. You need your pieces to be actively doing something. You know what, queen to c7, and again we have takes, takes. What would you guys play here? I need to see moves like rook to e1. What I don't want to see is a move like pawn to h3. And why don't I want to see this? Like, all I'm going to ask you is like, what is the purpose behind this move? In the middle game, you need to play with plans. All right, master piece improvement and pawn play. So your pawns have to be complementing your pieces. So here we had rook to e1. I'm going to even take a deep dive because this is not just a video where I need you guys to just like watch, get entertained, and be like, all right, and apply nothing. You guys are going to look at this and understand piece improvement. Now, whenever you're improving your pieces, you need them to be attacking something, all right? So this rook, it's putting pressure on an open e file. If this queen, you could swing it to b3. And this is coming with a multi-purpose move. It's attacking the pawn on b2. It's attacking, guys. You don't want it to be defending anything. If you can get all your pieces in aggressive formations, that's when things start to play out. Also, we're threatening to get our bishop to b4. By you improving a piece, you are giving room to improve another. If I didn't move my queen to b3, I would not be able to move my bishop to b4. And everything is automatically going to be pointing in that direction of the board. Now, that's what you're going to be mastering for the middle game aspects. What persons do at the lower levels is basically they just make random moves and they wait for their opponent to actually show them a plan first before they, do their own thing. If you are serious about improvement and want real answers to your chess problems, then you could book a 1v1 session through my website. The link is going to be in my description and also pinned in my comments. raheemglaveschess.com. This move h3 does not make the position any better for you than it was before. Practice, piece improvements, and pawn play. Now in this video we saw, or in this game, we saw rook to e1 and we had castles. See, if the queen was on b3, he would not be able to play his natural moves. Understand that you need to be putting pressure on your opponents. No. Again, planning. We had a3. This move I am not against because it is helping your pieces to look in that area. h3. The only thing I am going to ask you is, what is the purpose behind the move? a3. What is the purpose behind this move? If the answer is to play bishop to b4, that is a pass. You'd have successfully passed my test, my question. If you tell me that your idea of a3 is to play b4 or you just played a3 as like a waiting move to, then you would have failed. You could find the correct move with the wrong thought process. And this again will damage your chess long term. You need to understand chess on a deeper level, apply the right concepts, and then your ratings just does this. Alright? So now we had rook to e8. And this again is putting the rook in a defensive role. I want you guys to really get this. If you like this, I'm not going to make it too beginner. I'm also making it for the advanced as well. So just understand this. Get pieces to active square. You want them to be putting pressure on your opponent's position. Now we had rook to d1, knight to b7. What would you play for white here? If you tell me bishop to g5, that's a pass. If you tell me bishop to b4, that's a pass. You just have to improve the pieces. You don't have to see how you're crashing through. All I want you guys to master is piece improvements. Now we had queen to c7. What would you play here? This is an 1100, guys. If you're advanced, you could try to guess. If you're a beginner and you're trying to improve your chess as well, try to guess the moves that you would play in this scenario. Or this guy played in this scenario. You need to be improving. Okay? So again, we utilize the box method. Like super simple concepts. We have knight to e5. Putting pieces in that area. And remember, by you improving one piece, you're basically helping another piece to get improved as well. You might not see it, but trust me guys, I have been doing this, like I've even lost count, But this is absolutely 100% solid, guys. So here, the difference between masters, average players, people who improve, people who stay stuck, is their thought process, their chess understanding. What would you play as white in this scenario? Do we backtrack our piece and stop pointing in our opponent's half? Or we go forward, bishop to d6, all right? You're not seeing exactly how is this crashing through. But by you practicing this over and over again, people just get outplayed, guys. We had no queen to b6. This knight is putting pressure in our area. We kicked it. The knight tries to stay in our half. We kicked it. Now, what you need to understand with chess as well is if your opponents don't have anything active into this area of the board, then you can't get attacked. It's impossible to get attacked if your opponents don't have active pieces. The only thing that can hurt white in this scenario is this queen, because it is the only thing that is attacking. It's active. That's why I want you guys to utilize your pieces. This bishop, it just looks as if it's staring into like a random random space, but it is restricting pieces. The rook can't get to it's just restricting pieces, guys. Now we had pawn to b4. This is the test. If you're black in this scenario, what would you play? Now, depending on the level, I'll accept different answers. If you're improving your rook to like d8, fine. We also realize that, again, we need to master two things. You need to work on one first and then work on the other one after. Up to you guys. Pawn play, piece improvement. You can combine both. This rook is on a8. If we utilize this pawn break, pawn to e5, guess what? The difference is this rook is on a8, not doing anything. If we play pawn to a5 and then trade the pawns, this rook suddenly becomes like super active. I'll just like put it on the board just to show you the difference. We now have an active rook. That's how I want you guys to think, okay? We have active rooks. We're nice. You could even look to know as a plan as black. Let's even flip the board for you people. We have a plan as black. I don't know what to do. You would start invading, improving pieces into this area of the board, the box. Maybe you're going to be doubling up on the A file. You just have to, again, improve your pieces. Let's flip back the board, get back to the actual game. Now we had queen to d8. Like, when I see these moves, I smile. I'm like, yes, my opponent does not understand planning. Time to take him out of his misery. Rook to e4. Look, guys, all he's doing is improving his pieces. He's like, my rook is here. Do I want to double up on the d file? And the thing is, if you practice it, you just get better. Like, I am going to be planning better than this person currently because I've been doing it a little longer, you know. But it's the right path, guys. Rook to e4. Pawn to a5. Finally. Now we had pawn to c5. Takes. Oh, he even took with the rook. Putting pressure on the b7 pawn. Yeah, this guy, yeah, guys, this is impressive stuff. Impressive stuff. Now we had queen to a5. Takes. Now what we had here was basically black with a weakness. So we had like g3 just to free like the back rank and stopping like his opponent's knight. So we're calling this like dominating a piece. Basically the knight can't step forward. And then rook to c7. Weakness attacked. We know how to rook in a very defensive role. Then rook to b1. Look, he's just simply utilizing all the pieces. You won't see how is it crashing through. You just play it. Like, active pieces will play itself, guys. Rook on the 7th. Weakness. Everything is just falling apart. Do you remember this bishop that people were like, why is it sitting on d6 doing nothing? It's just staring into the abyss. That rook can't even go back to f8 to protect the pawn because of the active pieces here. The bishop on d6, the rooks on the 7th. We know that rooks on the 7th and 2nd are in heaven. Everything that you'd have been learning, your chess principles, they help your chess long term. Not the quick wins, but this person perished quite shortly. Rook takes f7 and rook takes g7 followed by this, and yeah, you're seeing it. The checkmate in one, rook to g7 checkmate. This came out of a simple opening, just somebody that understood middle games. This person, you guys, just do this. He didn't know how to plan. He's planning now. You just have to take a step in the right direction and then your chess will improve, guys. Thanks again for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And see you again another time. Practice this.